I think Andreas and I will speak about the different stages of the process in a very interactive way. This process has been building over the past couple of years. What's very important is a number of different things. Firstly, the word process. Process is a very process-driven word, which means you expect a block system. You expect a step 1, step 2, step 3, and you expect one thing to follow after the other. At one stage of the IT demand management process, this is true, and that would be in stage or step 4. And step 4 is the official part of the process. This is the budgeting stage. This is the stage where the money decisions get made and the plan gets made for the following year or even for later than that. Before and after, our process is a behavioral process. So we've got reasons why the top title is in green on step 1, step 2 and step 3. That's because these stages of the process, there are no gates. There's no gate that you need to go through and close in order to move from one step to another. Yeah, the gate, if you like, will come in step 4 when you need to justify budget requirements to your bosses and the IT management, demand management community. Yeah. Before that, we're looking at a more behavioral-based process which makes recommendations of various skills which are needed and various things that need to be done within the job itself. So we can also look at it as a job description for the IT demand manager. Step number 1, understanding the sponsor's business. We're going to use the word sponsor, we're going to use the word customer, internal client, stakeholder. We'll use all of these words to mean effectively the same thing, the person for who I am trying to deliver a service within my organization. And the first stage is understanding them and understanding their business. We have a few different things here. And the first one is a very big one. Understanding the total scope, the full scope of local business. So understanding what everybody does, what the business itself does on a country level. This one stands for profit equals revenue minus cost. This is the focus of the local organization and maybe the global organization on where the profit targets are going to come from. In a manufacturing environment, there's always a lot more focus on cost reduction initiatives compared to something which is fully marketing and sales oriented, where a focus would be much more on revenue initiatives. Within here, we have different initiatives and projects and plans that are going to happen. And one of the roles of the IT demand manager is to understand these initiatives to the best of their ability and to understand how their sponsors link in to this overall plan. Yeah, we'll discuss this in a lot of detail. This one here says create and work to a coverage plan. A coverage plan is very simply a document that says, who do I need to speak to? What am I going to speak about? When am I going to have the discussion? And have I done this, yes or no, and tick. What's next? What are the next steps? Okay, so it is a systematic approach to saying my job as an internal IT demand manager is to cover a certain amount of people, a certain amount of business, a certain amount of business requirement. That's my job and my duty. So I need meetings and discussions in order to do that. Okay, so what looks very simple here, what looks very easy and what sounds very easy when you speak about it is in reality possibly and probably the most difficult thing that we're going to look at over these whole 4 days, because it's the motor, it is the impetus, and it is the push to drive the IT demand manager out of their chair and up in front of the business and going and getting the meetings and starting the discussions. Okay. Okay. Here we've got a picture of our internal customer with a lot of different information that we can collect about them. What's their job? What's their second job? What's their boss's job? What's the job that they no longer have but they still have to do because nobody else is there to do the job? What's their IT? What IT do they use? What's their attitude to IT? What are their wishes? What are their likes, dislikes? What are their future plans? So one of the jobs within step 1, which is very much an ongoing job, is to get a good understanding of a particular person, an individual, who they are, how they work, what motivates them, where they're going, what their direction is, etc. Okay? So everything so far can be described by this word, the word preparation. And this fundamental level of preparation to really decide, well, what does this person need from a IT perspective? Yeah, this is an interesting one for me. What are their IT dependencies? Yeah, the word dependent. So some of you have got kids. A very little kid is fully dependent. Yeah, I have a 10-year-old terrorist. He thinks he's not dependent at all. He thinks he's independent. And every day we tell him that the world is different and that he is actually fully dependent on us for permission to do various things. So what are the IT dependencies? How do they depend on IT? This is a fascinating topic, yeah? Because it really drives home very, very quickly to the way people work and what they do during the day. So this picture describes the organization. This is having a good understanding of the organization, of who's important, who's moving, who's not, who reports to who, what topics, what functions and what areas. Yeah. And then we have a whole bunch about processes. And maybe some people would argue that this is the most important area. Firstly, what are the processes? What processes are being run? What is the process link to IT? Where is the process linked to IT solutions? Who owns the process? This is a very interesting topic, yeah, because nobody knows the answer very often to who actually has ownership of a process. And so these questions as well. And this is very interesting because the IT demand manager, yeah, if you say to yourself, who is responsible? Who has got the ability to respond? At the end of the day, you have to give that person a name. And that is, in my book, the IT demand manager. Nobody else at the moment, when you look at the job descriptions of the different people within the organization, nobody else really fits this role best, other than the ITDM. So that's a very interesting topic. And okay, so that's step 1. There are other things that come in here as well, but what we can see here is a very foundation stage. Step 1 is not something that you do and then you tick it off. You cannot tick off step 1. It goes on and on and on. So it's what we call a maintenance stage. Some of you have, in engineering, when you maintain a car or a machine, you need to give it small changes over time. You need to give it oil and care and attention, etc., which means you never stop maintaining something that you want to run well. And step 1 is very much a maintenance part of the process, which we invest into our relationships. So let's have a look at step 2.